As a unit of measurement, pixels can be very cruel. I did the measurements. We have space in Tier Maker for 18 tracks in a tier before it stretches out to a new row. Now, for A, B, C, D, and F tier, that's completely fine. We can stretch as much as we need to. However, if you stretch the S tier, you have crossed the line into being a brain-dead, uncritical fanboy. I don't think that describes any of us, right?
No, we're the harshest of critics.
I'm just saying, I'm not the one who sunk Dare to Be Stupid.
That's exactly it. No fanboy would sink Dare to Be Stupid. That's how you know that we are a scientific coalition advancing the cause of alchemistry.
I'm the one who got yelled at for alchemy.
I see, and I wanted to stick my flag on Co-ALxperts, but that was a bit of a mouthful.
Here's what it means. The cruel pixels mean we have room for 18 songs in a tier. If we attempt to place a 19th song into S tier, that will necessarily push the back song down to the top of the A tier. There's just not room for 19 songs. People could be forgiven for thinking, like, we're not going to get to 19 songs in S tier. Looking at our track record, 2 songs from the last album, but that was the 4th album. That averages out to fewer than 1 song per album. We've only got 14 albums to get through. People are like, there's a lot of wiggle room. Mathematically, you're not going to make it. But I think every album from here out, I'm personally going to be pitching 4, 5, maybe more S tier songs.
Well, then what is even S tier, honestly?
That's why you two are here. To rein me in, to make sure that only the songs that really actually deserve it go up there. Will we get to that 19th song? I don't know, but I think it's very likely. Anyway, the last album was bad. This one's even worse.
I'm staking my claim on 3 S tiers and an F on this album.
I have a feeling I'm going to be the Jay Sherman of the group. You know, the one that just goes, it stinks, even though I hate sinking the boat. I hate doing it, but
it needs to be done. Not every boat deserves to float all the time.
Look, man, we need someone to identify what the fart trumpets are.
Well, you know, we have some hastily made history for Weird Al's Even Worse. This album was released on April 12th, 1988, recorded, as per usual, at the Santa Monica Sound Recorders, engineered and mastered by Tony Papa and assisted by Jamie Dell. Even Worse, it definitely did a little better in the marketplace. It peaked at 27 on the Billboard charts, which is not as high as Weird Al in 3D, but it had a much longer tail of sales. This was his top-selling album for a very long time. I believe it wasn't until Straight Outta Linwood, which finally unseated this as Weird Al's top-selling album.
That is a surprising factoid.
Critical reception for this album was much better compared to Polka Party. This is the album that really set the template for what Weird Al was going to do for the rest of his career. Let's talk about personnel. Luckily, this is a very short list on this one. We've got our returning personnel. We've got Weird Al, Jim West, Steve J, and John Bermuda Schwartz returning as the main band. Rick Derringer is producing and contributing some guitars. For new personnel, we've got Kim Bullard on synths. He will work again with Al in future albums. Joe Sublett on saxophone. He was a session musician, played with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Ronnie J on record scratches for Twister.
Did they not bring back Mr. the Glove?
They did not.
Oh, shame. Mr. the Glove, hard to find work.
And last but not least is Nicolette Larson on backing vocals. She's kind of a ringer here. She had a #1 single written by Neil Young and a particularly good recording career in her own right. Our album art, of course, is directed once again by the Donald Lane Agency. Lou Beach returns for illustrations, Sam Emerson on photography, and Christine Wilson letters the Even Worse logo. So, guys, with this album art, this is Al directly parodying that Michael Jackson cover.
I think there's 2 things you can say about this album art. 1, it's extremely boring.
Yeah.
And 2, it's the only possible album art you could go with for this album.
Right.
And 3, it also belongs in one of the Final Fantasy games, that outfit.
That's not Al's fault, though. Like, Al didn't design the outfit.
No, but you can say 3 things about it. Those are the only 3 things you can say, though. I think that this album artwork is even worse than Dare to Be Stupid's.
Heyo.
No, the Hales were on the last album.
We're going to have to agree to stop making the even worse joke, because otherwise it'll just be 30% of the recording and I have to cut them all out. Like, we just have to retire that one now.
Are you saying it has diminishing returns each time we say it, it gets even worse?
Oh my God.
That's it. No more. Forbidden. Forbidden.
I want to make sure that everybody knows to go to Al Yankovic's official YouTube channel so they can listen to Even Worse along with us. That wasn't a joke reference. That was just me saying the name of the album that I want people to listen to along with us. Yeah, we placed 2 songs in the S tier, so this week the songs to beat are Christmas at Ground Zero and Dog Eat Dog. Will Fat Eat the Dogs?
You know I'm bad. Come on, you know. Don't you call me pudgy, portly, or stout, just tell me once again who's fat.
I have to imagine that one of the tricky aspects of being a successful parodist is balancing, like matching the sound of the original song with making sure that your version of the lyrics, which is the actual important part of the parody, are properly audible. And that has to be a challenge when you have artists like some of 1980s Michael Jackson, where the lyrics are not audible. I've heard the song Bad 10,000 times. I could not sing you the lyrics. I have no idea what MJ is singing about. In Al's version, the lyrics are articulate, hilarious. I think you had to mute the music a little bit in some aspect to get the lyrics to come across as clear as they did.
I want to put a pin in the incredible ham on whole wheat.
That would be a really, really easy joke to do for the entire song, to the point that it's overused. And he does it. He does it once, he does it right away, and then he gets into the rest of the song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always astounded by Al's restraint, because a lot of comedians don't have restraint. A lot of comedians are like, if it was funny once, it'll be funny 40 times. Here's your sign, you know? Bad is my favorite MJ song, and this version of the song is, I think, the best song we've listened to yet. We're going into, what, the 5th album?
Really?
Far and away.
Oh, that's high praise.
The only song I think I might be able to make a case for enjoying as much as I enjoy Fat is maybe Yoda.
No, there are definitely songs that I enjoy a lot more than Fat, but that is not a criticism against Fat. Like, to me, this is leading off an album the right way. This is an album full of returning characters, all right?
Okay.
We've got a bunch of people that we're seeing again, including the return of Eat It Guy. And also maybe every other food song, like, is Fat Man also the guy from Rocky Road and Addicted to Spuds and so on and so forth?
I think it's possible. I think the strongest case you can make is that this is the prequel to Grapefruit Diet.
So not only is this Al's first returning artist cover, it's not the last returning artist cover that we're going to see on this album. He's got 2, which is weird. Like, it's really weird to be double dipping like that so early on. And I really like that this song is just the greatest hits of Yo Mama So Fat jokes.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Instead of them being mean-spirited, you put them in this first-person perspective, and it takes a lot of the bite out of them. My highlights, my 2 favorite from the song, are When I Get My Shoes Shined, I Have to Take Their Word. That is hilarious. And My Shadow Weighs 42 pounds.
I have won a couple of middle school duels with Your Mama's So Fat. When she sit around the house, she really sit around the house.
This is it really gets the sound of Bad. It's a good arrangement, and your point about how they're mixing it to bring out the vocals is a salient one. I agree. But the thing about this song is that I cannot separate this song from the video. The video is so good, and I get what they're doing with the person who is the character in this song owns it. That's why he's taking back all the Yo Mama So Fat jokes. That stuff doesn't hurt him. I have a complicated relationship with it. That's all I'm saying. As someone who was young and fat at the time that this was out.
I hear you, but can we draw the distinction between this and Toothless People?
Yes, this song is not making fun. Even though it is funny, it is not making fun. For me, my memories of the song are always the positive ones are always wrapped up with the video. The video is just that good.
We've decided for this project that we're only going to listen to the album versions of the songs and not queue up the video versions. Fat is one of the songs for which that really matters because the video, first of all, you have this long preamble, just like Bad did, and then the song is chock full of sound effects that make sense when you're watching the video, but if you're just listening to the album, you wouldn't want to hear all the extra whip cracks and woos and the wind tunnel that they put in the song.
I had watched a interview with Al where he talks about like his inspiration for a lot of these parody songs. And Al specifically brought up Fat as being like a lightning in the bottle. It struck him as soon as he saw the Bad music video of the guy coming down the stairs into the subway, getting to the turnstile, and just being like, oh, wouldn't it be hilarious if he was, 800 pounds and just couldn't get through the turnstile? Bad, Fat, it can be a tie-in back to my previous song. And it just wrote itself from there. This was a song constructed with the music video in mind. All of that being said, this is like baseline acceptable for Al. I don't think this is the best song he's written yet or the best song he'll ever write. I consider this to be cream of the crop, but still just high A.
Without the music video, this song would not be as fondly remembered or regarded as high or as well as it is. I can't put an S tier. I mean, I'll give it an A. It's an A because the video is just that good. And the song, it's a really good song.
So that's 2 A's and an S.
Suddenly I'm bowling on the Starship Enterprise. I fall down a hole and that's when I realize I'm stuck in a closet with Vanna White.
The title, I think, of this is a complete and utter misdirect. Because my thought is that this is whatever character this is in the song, this is their dream journal. But it's not the good kind of dream. Like you listen to all the stuff he's rattling off, they actually all sound like nightmares. I'm not sure what this guy's deal is, but something tells me he actually doesn't want to be stuck in a closet with Vanna White.
He'd rather be in there with Pat Sajak.
Sure, why not? Pat Sajak's an attractive man. We were having these trends of bonkers lyrics songs, and I think this is one of them. It's not a listicle, but it is definitely a list of things that are happening to this guy. And honestly, I really think it fits with this Aerosmith kind of sound that they're bringing with it, especially with like the talk box.
This song is just pile of nonsense. That's all it is.
Remind me again how we feel about nonsensical lyrics, Brick.
So, to me, the lyrics are much more similar to Dare to Be Stupid.
Mm-hmm.
However, this song is Aerosmith and not Devo. So, one thumb up. And this song has a framing device, which is exactly what you need to package your nonsense lyrics in. That's the other thumb up.
Ugh, I am just rolling my eyes over here, guys. Look, maybe this is me being young, but I didn't listen to a lot of glam metal. I'm gonna be honest, limousine flies over my head. Like, I am not there for that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I seem to recall that we've been pretty down on just plain stupid songs. So are we going to excuse the fact that trying to explain a dream is often a really terrible story to tell as the joke of this song? That dreams have to be these, you kind of have to be their experiences?
That's part of the comedy of the song, because if you're in therapy, you're talking to your doctor, like your doctor knows that your dreams are just random association and they're not indicative of anything, but they still have to listen to you.
I have never went to I have free healthcare. I've never went to a doctor to explain my dream to them.
But if you did, they would professionally, it's their job to listen to your nonsense.
No, I would never put another human being through that.
That's what therapy is for.
Therapy is not for explaining your bad dreams. I'm rolling my eyes at this
they
so
are
hard.
If your dreams are what's causing you stress and anxiety. Like, just because they're nonsense doesn't mean they can't be important to you, even if what you're dreaming about is donuts and hot dogs flying around.
Maybe I just can't relate to this because part of my insomnia is that I just don't dream. Like, when I fall asleep, 2 seconds pass and I wake up in a cold sweat.
I have to ask. Because this is running around my brain for years. Are we picturing donuts and hot dogs flying around magically like Superman? Or do they have, like, little wings?
No. This is the Windows screensaver.
You're thinking of After Dark with the flying toasters. That is
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. It's like that.
Okay. I can finally put that to bed. Part of what makes this song so funny to me, I keep coming back to this idea of comedic restraint, which Al demonstrates a lot. He writes a song about being stuck in a closet with Vanna White, tells one Wheel of Fortune joke, and that's it. To me, that alone is extremely funny. That Vanna White is such a small part of the nightmares.
Small part of the nightmares, my arse. She's the recurring part of the nightmares.
This is an A. I'm happy.
This song, this is a strong musical song, and I knock everything off for the lyrics. It's nonsense, and not even from a point of view where the nonsense makes sense. It's a C.
Are there any Bs? Yes, there is a B on the board.
6 words long. This song is just 6 words long. 6 words long. Oh, I make a lot of money.
Before we started doing these sessions where we were recording our reactions to albums and songs, we did a little bit of a test recording. And the three of us had to pick a song to do for the test recording. And it just so happens that this is the first one that we did that's coming up in the list. And it was the one that I picked. And during that test recording, I was really kind of hard on this song because of like, man, Al is really ragging on George here, whatever. Turns out I didn't know what Al ragging on someone actually was. And then we listened to,
Context is important.
Yes. Hearing the Billy Joel song. I'm like, when Al wants to put the knives out, that's when the knives are out. It's the difference between good-natured ribbing and acrimony. And you know what? The song, not bad. It's a bop. That's what we like about the original song. And that's what I like about this one.
I also have in my notes that, and I quote, this song is a bop. I just think that the comedy is lost in its rigid adherence to the form of the joke. Like, the joke is a criticism against how vapid pop song lyrics are. But when you try and shoehorn that in with vapid pop song lyrics, you just end up repeating yourself a lot.
This is definitely a one-joke song.
And it's not a good one-joke song like Mr. Frump.
Oh, the joke is good. Come on. It's pretty funny.
I mean, I won't call it incisive commentary. That is something.
But again, like, that's not a biting criticism. Like, even the critique of this song is just kind of like,
Why
whatever.
does criticism
vapid.
need to be biting?
Al says a lot more interesting things with a lot more interesting songs, and this is not one of those.
Did you bop when you listened to it?
I was bopping
You
along.
bopped.
I whistled along to the solo.
Yeah.
One thing I was really surprised about is that Al did not make a video of this song because I'm not sure if you guys remember the video for Got My Mind Set on You. George Harrison is sitting in like a library and there's all the like animal heads on the wall that sing along with the song. But I'm really surprised that Al did not make a video riffing on that video because that seems like prime video riffing material.
Oh, I've got this in C tier. I'm still not a fan.
Has your estimation improved, Dan?
I believe in our original recording, I gave this a C.
Okay.
And I'm being a little more generous now and giving it like a B minus. It's not one of Al's greatest. It would be a very low B for me.
I'll say this, I like it more than I like Stuck in a Closet.
Sometimes you make me want to build a model of the Eiffel Tower out of Belgian waffles. You make me, you make me, you make me. That's what you do to me. That's what you do.
They should have cut the song after That's What You Do to Me. I'm just saying. I think that Al should really revisit these cartoonish percussions in the future. It has this really nice, crunchy bounce to the song and helps drive it along at a steady clip. But again, when I ask Brick this, are we going to sit here and excuse these completely nonsense lyrics because they're a critique of the standard in love you'll do stupid things trope? Or are they just plain stupid for stupid's sake?
I mean, it's not stupid for stupid's sake. He introduced a framing device.
Okay, so this is on the side of being clever as opposed to oblique.
I didn't say that. I'm just acknowledging that a framing device exists.
All right. Now, as much as I like listening to Dare to Be Stupid, I'm not that big of a fan of this song. I'm sorry to all the Oingo Boingo fans out there. Dan, I'm looking at you. Not my cup of tea.
I mean, this song is supposed to be Oingo Boingo style. and I mean, it kind of is. The Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo are a very interesting band who have made a lot of interesting sounds. If you listen to this, it's just, the production quality is just not there for me. This is actually a sound that I think Al will refine later and use in other places and other songs.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll
I'm
get
excited.
There. Yes. And he does it and he really succeeds at it, but he succeeds at it because I'm not listening and thinking, oh yes, I would rather be listening to Forbidden Zone and hearing just some absolute bonkers production that Oingo Boingo was known for doing.
Al's hamster deserves to go to the beach.
I mean, Harvey comes back.
Middle C.
I gave this a C.
See, I gave it a B. I think it's adequate, but again, I'm fine with this living in C tier.
I've only ever heard Oingo Boingo referenced in an Akewood comic from like 2008. And I remember reading that comic thing like, oh, they just made up a fake band.
Born in a science lab late one night without a mother or a father, just a test tube and a womb with a view. I think I'm a clone now. There's always two of me just a hanging around.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the example of the elevated parody.
Mm-hmm.
This song, it's actually like twice elevated because Tiffany already kind of elevated it from being just a garbage song from the 60s that sucked. And I didn't think about it until we sat down to record, but Al does a lot of parodies of covers on this album.
Yes.
You guys are very critical, like overly critical to my ear about like the band doesn't sound exactly right here, or like this instrument wasn't mixed correct. And I always rationalize that as well. Like Al's not doing a copy of the song, right? He's doing his version of the song, which by definition should sound a little different. But I listened to a lot of Tiffany these past 2 weeks, and I've listened to this song a lot the past 2 weeks. There is just an element of Tiffany's version of this song where she puts a little bit of husk into her voice into the night, and Al can't get it. And he said, like in interviews, like he struggles sometimes doing parodies of female singers. I would have loved for him to have been able to incorporate that element to the song. That would have made it better. As it stands, incredibly smart lyrics, really original premise. Once again, Al explores probably every clever turn of phrase about being cloned, and he makes it all rhyme without ever stretching a lyric. So this is one of my all-time favorite Al songs.
I mean, this is the number 2 parody on the album, I think.
I think it's the number 1 parody.
This is a better song than the original song, which is the elevated parody, like gold star.
It is,
right? And
you can really hear it when you listen to the version that Tiffany recorded, which is a fantastic song. I don't want anybody to think that I'm hating on think we're alone now. It's fine, but I almost have to wonder, like 5 albums in, Al's just a better musician than Tiffany was working with, probably.
This song just has so much more like energy to it, right? He's nailing that blatantly artificial synth style that is iconically 80s, and it really, really works for it. This song does not have a music video, which is a shame because you can picture the opening of zoomed in on test tubes, zoom out, they're being played like pan flutes, to Al as a double of himself playing either side of it like that one shot from one of the Prometheus sequels. Think about it. I'm a fan, for some reason, of biology nerdcore songs. Joko's DNA, baby, that spells DNA, is a favorite of mine.
Devolving is a favorite of mine. I love Devolving.
I never took bio in high school, but like a womb with a view is one of those galaxy brain lyrics.
Well, as a kid, I didn't know what all the lyrics meant. So my first exposure to some of these scientific terms, like what does he mean by a womb with a view? Well, learning that, like it sounds dumb to say it out loud, but like I learned stuff about biology by looking into the meaning of this song that I would otherwise not have learned for years.
Also, this is a missed opportunity to have this song feature for another Michael Keaton movie, right? This should have been on Multiplicity.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is an S tier song. This song's S tier as far as I'm concerned.
Dan.
I hear it. I can't put it in S. I can't.
Ah!
I can't.
Explain yourself.
I mean, yes, the lyrics are good. There's a lot of good turn of phrase, but also there's just like this dumb energy to this song. I don't know. I can't put this into S.
Can I give you a reason for it to have that dumb energy? It's because the clone, it hasn't experienced as much life as the original. This is like fresh out of the oven clone experiencing everything for the first time, in love with being alive. Like that's where the energy is, Dan. Oh, this song is so good.
You're right. It is 100% why this song works. I just
what
don't think
doesn't
it's
make it an S
parody.
tier? What drags it down for you? Give us a reason.
I'm just thinking of all the songs that we have in the future that are better than this.
We can worry about those songs later.
That would be a very short list for me.
It's a cover that is better than the original.
So was Tiffany's version.
Yeah, but so is Tiffany's version.
You should have tasted my lasagna. Hey, you don't like a lasagna. That's okay too. How about the calzone? Some nice minestrone.
This album famously does not have a polka. But I posit to you this. Al decided, instead of doing a big mashup polka, that he would do a Mexican polka. Because I don't think one has ever been done. But we have it here, and we have it now. And I gotta say, it's brilliant. I love it. Just give me this song. I will say right up front, I'm not going to put this into S tier, but I like it a lot. Apparently, Al's mom is Italian. So I have a feeling this might be Al writing from some experience our Italian stereotypes in media have changed. We've gone from the Luigi types. Now we're doing Tony Soprano types, and I don't know if they've changed since then.
I had an Italian aunt who this song was written about.
Yes.
Like the kind who would go around and put food on your plate if she thought it was too empty. Mm-hmm. She introduced every meal with mangia. So I know what Al's singing about here, for sure.
For me, it's my German Oma and Gigi, the absolute plate of pierogies that would be passed around.
And the thing is that this is a one-joke song, again, that comes around to being funny after you kind of get the joke. It's not like the other one-joke songs where it's sometimes repeating the one joke over, like Mr. Frump. This is like, okay, how many variations of this one joke can I do?
It's not just one joke, though, because there's also the layer of you're taking a stereotypical Mexican song, and then for no good reason, or at least no good reason it sounds like, you're turning it into a song that's stuffed to the crust with Italian stereotypes. But when you think about it, there's really a large crossover between mariachi music and Italian folk music and their instrumentation. Like, there's a blend there, and it works well. It's a fusion food.
So let's not beat around the bush here. It is a one-joke song. And the joke is, sometimes to American ears, Italian words sound funny.
Yes.
There are a lot of funny words in the song, and every time it has a quality like, oh, that's the last funny Italian food that he's going to sing about. Nope, 2 lines later, he reminds you that minestrone exists. In the 80s and 90s, like, that was an acceptable form of comedy. When I listen to the song now, what year is this? 2040? The year the aliens invaded.
It's the year of our Luigi 2023.
Right. Just sit here with gritted teeth. Like, oops.
Yeah.
If this was an SNL sketch today, there would be a lot of hit pieces on Tumblr tomorrow. I think what I'm saying is Al is not going to write another song where the joke is sometimes foreign words sound funny. This is an example of we've moved on from this form of comedy. It wasn't done maliciously, and it's not a bad song, but...
Yes, we like to think that we've grown as writers and joke tellers, that we don't just have to rely on crusty old Italian stereotypes anymore.
Well, I mean, also credit where credit is due. This song was featured in the 2010 movie Yogi Bear, which you all forgot about.
Can we all agree that we didn't need the sound of gargling?
I don't like the gargling, but once again... I'd like to believe that this is the Dr. Demento containment zone.
Much love to my Aunt Lynn, rest in peace. But I have to give Lasagna. Her Lasagna was an S tier, easily. Weird Al's is a C-.
I have it as a strong B. It's a worthy song. It's just not up there with some of the polkas.
I have it as B for Buongiorno.
I have to go through your garbage just to learn more about you, Melanie.
We had a brief discussion a couple of videos ago about whether or not Weird Al has a time machine. I think this might be evidence in favor of that theory, considering that he was able to access r/incels before Al Gore invented the internet.
This is Incel Guy again.
Yep, it's the return of Incel Guy.
I don't think it is. I think this is a unique, because his stalking begins and ends in this same song. Like, this is his entire incel journey. This is not a man who has ever stalked another woman. He likes Melanie, like, a lot. I think this song is equal parts like horrifying and hilarious.
Yes. I really want to hear the alternate version that has the R-rated lyrics that Al has talked about.
I have not heard tell about this.
It is written that Weird Al has a version of this song that he's played in private audiences that have a much harder lyrics because, as we all know, Al likes to work clean in public.
Yeah, he definitely didn't play it on stage.
Yeah.
I really love that reveal at the end of, oops, I guess I'm dead now. Ooh, whoopsie.
Yep.
I have a quick question because there is a lyric in this song that raises more questions than it answers. Why would you give a cat a mohawk? And more importantly, how?
This was the 80s, my dude. Lots of cats had mohawks.
I would love to see you try and give a cat a mohawk. It is...
Okay, without going into the extremely depressing specifics, it starts with you drugging the cat. And then it ends with nothing good.
I have this listed as a style parody of Tom Petty, but I think that in pre-discussion, Dan finds this contentious, and Brick is completely against the distinction of pastiches writ large. So do we just want to call this an original?
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of areas where there are legitimate citations where Al will say, oh, this is my inspiration for this. There is no citation for this anywhere being anything relating to Tom Petty. Like, if you listen to the albums Tom Petty is putting out at this, I even went back and listened to freaking Southern accents. This honestly feels like something you could hear on a modern album that Al has done. It's got a production quality that feels very similar to certain original songs that he would do later in his career.
With one exception. Nobody's naming their girl child Melanie anymore, and hasn't since the early 90s.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the quality of recording and mixing and instrumentation or anything else like that.
It does happen to be the title of the song.
Yeah, but that's not how I'm judging it.
How are you judging it? Where do you want this?
I like our travails of Weird Al knocking on toxic masculinity and ripping on terrible, pathetic people. I think the lyrics are really good. The song is kind of repetitive. I don't think I can give it more than a B, but it's a very high B. Like, it borderlines into A.
Dan, I've had the harmonies for this song stuck in my head for 2 weeks now. And I'm going to blame you for some of that.
I will accept this blame.
This song is an A. I will hear no other words.
Our A tier right now makes a nice sentence. I think I'm a clone now, fat Melanie.
Cause she took my house, my car, my shoes, and my toothbrush too bad. So sad.
The obvious connection. This is the guy like a year after If That Isn't Love. The galaxy brain connection is this incredibly nasty divorce is what killed Skipper Dan's career.
Can I also posit that this has a loose connection to the guy from Stop Dragging My Car Around as Financial Troubles Man?
If you value authenticity in your parodies, you have to be happy with Alimony.
Yes, it is a pitch perfect riff of Billy Idol's cover of Tommy James' song. We got 2 Tommy James songs in one album.
Yeah. Okay. Before sitting down to record this past weekend, I wasn't considering Alimony as being an example of an elevated parody, but it was only because I'd never actually listened to Moni Moni's lyrics before. I always just assumed like
so forgettable.
They're like,
yep.
I always just, okay, he's singing about like a specific relationship with a woman named Moni, right? No, they're singing about a goddamn bank. They saw M-O-N-Y, the stupidest lyrics possibly imaginable, and Al turned them into solid gold.
What's your favorite line? Because mine is a toss-up between she took the nest egg and then she took the nest, or I took her for better or for worse and she took me for everything.
My favorite line is when the backup singers come into the song, I Want My Alimony. It's their alimony. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. I wrote down gift of grab.
Oh, so good.
This is a clear elevated parody, right? Like this replaces
Yep.
the
Yes.
original in every way, shape, and form. This is an S tier. Front to back.
Mhm. Dan?
Does it not have that like stadium anthem wall of sound that you need?
It absolutely does. It's like this, unlike some of the other parodies in this album, it nails the sound. It's like I said, it's a pitch perfect riff. Al's not trying to do a Billy Idol impression, and I'm okay with that. He's going a little, I guess, grungier,
Yeah, yeah.
guttural with his singing. And it works because this guy's mad about somebody, like, oh, this woman's taking all my money.
She got
It's
his toothbrush.
But he doesn't go as far into a cartoon character as Toothless People. He's keeping
Yeah.
it restrained. He's not doing a voice. He's not doing a funny voice. He's singing in his register comfortably with a affected style.
It's also not gross like Toothless People.
It might be a little gross depending on the nature of the divorce. We don't know the
Well,
specifics.
Do we call this
That's
a
true.
bad partner song? Or like I'm putting this one as bad partner as far as I'm concerned. Do you think they got the divorce because she wore those shoes?
Ooh. So the grounds for divorce were so stupid, that's why the judge awarded alimony.
Yeah. The judge was like, why are you wasting this court's time? I will,
BRB updating headcanon.txt.
I can't put it in S.
Why not? Why, Dan? Just a solid reason is all I ask. What's knocking it down for you?
Do not cut out this giggle fest.
My friend Buttface asked you a question.
He did ask you a question, and the reason why is because the song has no cultural impact. I will say the actual music is S tier. I gave it an A. What more do you want?
Moni Moni is such trash. This elevates it so much higher.
As opposed to Fat, which is a great song parody of a great song. This is a great song parody of a...
Yeah, it's the
Yes.
difference between the two that makes all the difference.
My velvet Elvis means the world to me. Whoa.
So we had started off the album with Al dipping back to the King of Pop, like he did in Weird Al in 3D. And now, lo and behold, he's dipping back into the Police, which were also on Weird Al in 3D. And we all know how much I liked King of Suede from that album, but I'm sorry, this is the lesser of the two songs. And I think that this is a case where being a style parody isn't doing this song any favors. Because instead of just sticking to one Police song and making that your house there, you're just vaguely being in the neighborhood, and without having a good reason to stick around, it kind of loses its way, much like I've lost the way of this metaphor. I just think that this song is kind of taking the sting out of it.
The Police is one of those bands where, like, if you're gonna parody them, pick a song, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to make a case that Velvet Elvis guy matures into the guy from Tacky.
Yeah, that's also what I wrote. I
Hey!
wrote precursor to Tacky.
See, this is the song, this is the album of recurring characters.
Velvet Elvis is a kind of a fun, like, alliterative phrase. Al doesn't do anything to play with that. I don't know what that would sound like. Like, maybe he tried and it couldn't work, but I'm not sure if that was a missed opportunity or what. I love the line, "He's so fuzzy."
So leading up to this, I actually had to look up what a Velvet Elvis was.
Oh, yeah?
Apparently in the 70s, there was a trend where they would do these paintings of Elvis using a black velvet canvas.
I think I played that Psychonauts level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this mixed media fad that was here for a minute and then quickly gone and flooding thrift stores. I kind of feel a little bit of a kinship with the character in this song, because when I go thrifting or looking for old junk, even though I'm looking for old computers or electronics or whatever,
Dan, I'm going to need to hold you to this. What is the Velvet Elvis of computers?
as in something that everybody rushed out and bought and then got rid of really quickly, or the sort of thing that's collectible, you see it in the thrift store, you're like,
I already
gotta have
tortured
it.
a metaphor. Feel free to contort this however you want.
I found complete in box, a SideQuest Spark drive, which is an obscure removable cartridge hard drive format from the 90s.
You know, I would listen to a Weird Al song about the SideQuest Spark Drive. I bet it'd have a theremin on it.
We didn't have a Velvet Elvis in the house, but we had the dogs playing poker.
Yeah,
And therefore, this song is a C.
Yeah, I've also got this song as a solid C.
we all agree this is definitely, we're in synchronicity that this song is a C.
All the girls and homeboys playing Twister. Twister, Twister, Twister. Spin the spinner and call the shot. Twister ties you up in a knot. That's Twister.
Everybody point and laugh at Buttface being young. It weirds me out that this is how I found out that the Beastie Boys were technically formed in 1978 and had a decade-long career by the time this song came out. The Beastie Boys, in my mind, are incredibly 90s. This is a one-note song that does absolutely nothing for me. It is an advertisement, right? This is a song that belongs on UHF. I don't want advertisements in my recreational media. Who would do such a horrendous thing? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's just an advertisement. If this came down from corporate saying you need to write a promotional song for a product.
The Scotty brothers just brought up 40% share in Milton Bradley. We need Al to push some Twister.
What is this song? I mean, maybe Al likes the Beastie Boys. I mean, I like the Beastie Boys.
Maybe
He's
Al
trying
likes
to-
Twister.
Maybe he likes Twister. I don't know. I just don't see the point. I mean,
Dan,
he's
what's the
trying to do-
cultural impact of this song?
The song has none at all. It has negative cultural. It's completely forgettable.
And can I just say, this is not something that Dan will have ever experienced, but having long hair is a liability when you play Twister.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way Al likes playing Twister.
I used to have, there was a period of time when I did grow my hair out at least to like shoulder length.
That's not long hair. Come on.
For as someone who spends as much time sticking their own butt up their own head, I am completely inflexible. I have never played Twister. But I am safe to say that left hand F for this song.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
This is an F tier
Wow.
song.
I mean, I had it in
It-
D.
It's a little funny. Like a little bit.
He's doing his best like MCA and Mike D impressions.
It's just a commercial, guys.
It is, but some commercials are great.
This
like
is
a lot
not
of
a great
commercials.
commercial.
It's
Buttface,
not-
were we not recently discussing the greatness of jingles?
We
Like,
were.
I can-
This is not a good jingle.
I don't know. All the girls and homeboys playing Twister. Like, if they had that riff in a 1990s Twister commercial, I could totally see it.
Bop It's better.
I mean, Bop It is better, but like I can bust out Water Slide World, we're really crazy about your wild slide. Like I can bust that out on command. I don't know if I would bust this out on command.
Can you give us a Mr. Bucket?
Mr. Bucket, buckets of fun. This is not on the same level as Mr. Bucket.
No,
I'm sorry.
This isn't if we are having to grade this as a song that you are going to sit down and listen to, you think, you know what, I want to listen to commercials today, and you listen to 2 hours worth of commercials on YouTube and some compilation list because that's what we've come to as a society once we've done away with channel surfing. You're not gonna listen to friggin' Twister. I'm sorry, this is an F tier song.
I listen to it every time I listen to the album just because it's like not worth skipping.
That is
like
true.
It's like 50 seconds long.
Yeah, you'd have to go up. It's like a minute long. You'd have to get up and like reposition on the record or fast forward your tape. Nobody's going to do that.
Especially if you're in the middle of a game of Twisters. And you got to remember how everybody was oriented on the thing. So
You could skip this song and listen to 1/6 of Nature Trail to Hell.
I mean, what's your grade, Ricky?
a D.
Yeah, I gave it a D.
This song is garbage.
Let me tell you, buddy, those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. The years go by, but the memories stay.
It's very rare that Al manages to do something that parodies an artist before they do a specific song. About 3 years after this album comes out, James Taylor releases the song Copper Line, which is his very wistly, oh, I remember my days growing up in Carolina, which is not the same as Carolina on my mind. That is this song, except Weird Al did that song 3 years before James Taylor did, and he also wrote it about essentially the same character from Excitable Boy from Warren Zevon.
I'm surprised. I didn't even think of the Warren Zevon comparison there, Dan. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I love that album.
Yeah, this song is Excitable Boy.
Yep. Actually, Dan, and if you'll allow me to do a Tonight Show reference,
Sure.
Here's Larry, because this is Larry, right?
Yes, you're right.
100%.
It's Larry.
I like to think that Sweet Michelle is like Melanie's sister. Like they just have horrible luck with men. I'm going to comment on this every time it's applicable because it's not commonly applicable to Al's style of comedy, but I love pitch black humor.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very dark song.
I did some math. Not math, I'm not that smart. I did some counting. 8 lines out of 46 lines in this song are in on the joke, and none of them are in a chorus. That's spectacular from, let's call it, conservation of funny, that 8 lines carry all of the humor in the song. That's excellent.
Maybe I'm just a fan of soft rock, folksy sounding tunes, and this album is stacked in that regards between Melanie and Good Old Days. This hits that soft rock, folksy sound that I love. I think it might just be the bongos and the tambourine, if I'm being honest.
I mean, Al nails the sound. The lyrics are really just darkly funny.
Oh, the darker side of humor is perhaps my favorite mode for Al to be writing in, with like second place being mocking corporate life and my job sucks, and then like right below that is the polka. He's got different gears that he shifts into, but when Al's in dark humor mode, ooh, that speaks to me.
So me and Buttface clearly both like this for S.
Yeah.
Dan?
S? Why is this album producing so many theoretical S's? Why is that?
Because it's a terrific album filled with excellent songs.
I mean, I had this in A tier.
What don't you like about the song, Dan? Dan, what don't you like about the song?
I feel like I'm doing a bit here, but I'm not doing a bit.
I'm doing a bit at this point.
I know.
I would like this at the top of A tier because this is, again, my favorite kind of... This is the sound of the album for me. This is like my favorite song to listen to.
Now, looking at the actual rankings that we've placed, I think it's safe that both of you do think this album is even worse than Polka Party.
Yes.
We didn't have any S tier songs, ergo it has to be worse than
I
Polka
had
Party.
4, and my man had 3. You didn't have any S tier songs.
I think on the whole, this is a B tier album. It's definitely shown improvement over the first 3. I don't think it hits as much of a like running stride. It bounces back and forth between good song, bad song, good song, bad song, or not necessarily bad song, but not to the level of greatness of some of the songs on the album. It's more of a mixed bag. It's not the potpourri that Polka Party was. There is more cohesion here.
Yeah, this is an album.
Is cohesion really important on a Weird Al album?
I would say that the cohesion of 3D is what makes 3D so great, even if some of the songs themselves were found wanting.
So I actually wrote up a little bit of a paragraph for this.
Mm-hmm.
This album, this is a course correction for Al. He's dialing in his recipe. I was reading stuff like after Polka Party, he's like, oh, I thought my career was over. But he regroups and he does something that's a little, I'd say, less appealing to hardcore Dr. Demento fans in favor of something that's a little more commercially acceptable, but he doesn't lose the soul of the work. There's a lot of great material here that has the dark comedy, some really good parody lyrics, but the reason why this album did so well is that, aside from Fat, it's a very accessible album. Buttface is right that this it does have a cohesiveness, but it also has a variety in that cohesiveness. If we did not have Fat to like set the tone as an opening thing, it probably would have met the same fate as Polka Party, even though...
For me personally, I think you remove Fat, you place in Alimony as your lead single, and everything's smooth sailing still.
Alimony was not going to be a cultural phenomenon like Fat was.
Yeah, I think that undervalues how big Michael Jackson's Bad was.
Yeah.
again, living in the world where we didn't get that.
What really drags the album down for me is there's no polka medley. Let's fix
Yes.
that, boys.
And I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country and young, scrappy and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. We gonna not throw away my take a shot. We gonna not throw away my.
I wrote so many notes for this song, and I'm not going to have time to get to any of them. Instead, I'm going to share an anecdote. About a week ago, I had the opportunity to watch the stage recording version of Hamilton. A friend of mine came on Discord. He's like, I'm going to watch Hamilton. If you want to jump on voice chat, I'm going to heckle it. I'm like, that sounds great. I immediately put my headphones on. I dropped what I was doing. Worth pointing out that he's not an American. He's like from Germany or Mozambique or something. I forget. But it was his first time watching Hamilton. And he watched this song first. And there's a line in the song, look back at the Bill of Rights, which I wrote. And there was an audible laugh. I mark it as like 70% chuckle, 30% guffaw. But it's a funny line. Why not laugh at it? 2 hours later, we get to that point in the stage show, the song Washington on Our Side. And I'm thinking like, oh, that line got a laugh out of him in the song. He's going to think it's funny in the stage show too. Instead, his response to Thomas Jefferson and James Madison having an exchange, look back at the Bill of Rights, which I wrote, was, this might be funny if I knew or cared who any of these guys were. And I laughed so hard because it illustrates to me like the genius that Al is capable of. Because in this moment, Al and Lynn are doing the same thing, right? They're writing a parody of something else. Lynn and Al they have different goals with their parody. They have different objectives. But Lynn's version, when he wrote a funny line in a song about like historical events, didn't strike the same chord as Al's like goofy, dopey version of the same line of the same events. And I think Al taps that muscle a lot for a lot of people on a lot of different types of music and a lot of different subject matters. I don't like country, but I think Al's country songs are funny. Obviously, this is where I have to fanboy myself. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to read through my notes. I'm just going to say this is one of the 3 polka songs in Al's canon that is S tier. And now, y'all spit, I'ma sit. We'll see where we land.
I literally wrote Hamilton, enough said. And I think now I hear Buttface making Marge Simpson noises. And here's the thing. It is true that Lin-Manuel Miranda is suffering from a bit of an overexposure problem. And there are definitely a whole bunch of issues in Hamilton, the show, that he will probably be the first to tell you that any creative work has those kinds of issues. And honestly, that's the same thing with America. There's a lot of good ideas and we've got a lot of issues. And that is just as true of Hamilton, the play, and also Hamilton, the dude, by
Hamilton,
the way.
the man.
This polka right here is the best material from what the show's like, 2.5, 3 hours long, distilled into a 5-minute bite. It just trims away all the fat and you listen to it. Yeah, I can understand why this is such a banger, because he cuts out all of the chaff and just puts all the best stuff together and you get all those hits in a row and you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I know I'm not as much of a fanboy of that show as Ricky is.
Few people are.
Put on South Park bigger, longer, and uncut, and I think both of us would probably agree that it's one of our favorite musicals of all time.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But Hamilton, I've got my issues with it, but overall, good show, like a lot. Great polka. And the thing is, I remember last week somebody saying, I think it was Ricky, who said that, oh, the polka on this is kind of like the vibe of all the polkas going forward. But like, you listen to this and you can hear Weird Al's modern production in it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I actually would have liked it with the older production values, a more polka-y. But on the other hand, he uses all the sound effects. The sound effects are perfect, especially with taking your shot. It's like those classic library sound effects. It nails it. And if they did that in the show, it probably would actually make the show better.
Buttface.
I don't know where to start. I'm seeing red flames on the side of my face. All right. I had not seen Hamilton until a week ago. It was fine. It was mid. It is a 7 out of 10 musical. I do not like musicals. We are not here to litigate that this evening. No, I think we need to talk about the tuba in the room, and more specifically, what the purpose of a polka is in Weird Al's discography. Weird Al polka medleys are time capsules for the music that is dominating pop culture at that time. There is chance to go hog wild and play around in that milieu of culture. If you were to only make a playlist of songs featured in Weird Al polkas, I'm not saying that I have done this.
I have done this. That's like a little routine that I have
Yeah.
every time you put out a new album.
So therein lies the problem. Al is literally just covering a single artist here, and not even all of their work, just one album. An album that by all rights already has a medley in it. It's a musical. You're supposed to take these musical motifs and the themes and riff on them and layer them in new and interesting ways to create new interesting compositions. And this polka doesn't even do that. This polka is not even a condensed retelling of the play. It's just scattershot highlights with no real direction. It feels completely superfluous in context, and then removed from the play entirely. It is just a blip on the cultural radar. I don't get this polka. It is a B-. This is the most contemporary song that we're gonna cover, and it's mid.
Buttface, the kind of invective that I'm getting from your voice very much reminds me of my feelings about cable TV.
I don't get. You could pull from any of pop culture and you choose Hamilton, which is a musical, which, like, why? Why do it as a polka medley? Why?
Because Al loves Lynn and he loves Hamilton.
Fucking roll in my eye. But Lynn tells a story of going to see a Weird Al concert.
Yeah.
But this is not Lynn fanboying about Weird Al. This is Weird Al fanboying about Lynn. The highest honor any musician can receive is having a Weird Al song.
And you don't
Right?
believe Lin-Manuel is deserving of that honor.
I would have liked to see Weird Al actually make a polka in the last decade. And instead, he did a polka cover of a musical that is 7 out of 10.
Mandatory Fun came out in 2014, dude. That's within the past decade.
It is.
Oh, it's just squeaking under the wire. And again, that's looking back at the decade before.
Dan, where are you placing this song?
I think this would be an A-.
Okay. So S plus A plus B is an A, which is where most of our polkas are landing.
We talked more about Hamilton Polka than any other song combined.
I didn't even touch on any of my notes for it. I didn't even get to them. Not enough time. I'm going to listen to it again after we're done recording.
Ugh.
Yeah, buddy, you gotta get it. Yeah, Twister from MB.
Damn it, I keep forgetting to turn my knob.
Not on air, Dan.
Now that's the extra stinger.
God damn it!